Hello everyone, welcome to session 1 of the Fawn painting, which I'm really excited about. I really enjoyed painting this beautiful light. It's really more about painting this beautiful light than anything. And in this first session, we're going to get it taped down and put on the masking, and it'll be a short session because we need to let the masking dry. So I thought it would just be easier to make session 1 just putting the masking on, and then we'll let it dry, and then we can get to painting in session number 2. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I think I'm gonna start this little painting, and I am gonna start trying new papers. I'm working on a painting of Parker right now with Balhung paper, and this is Saunders Waterford. So we will see how we like these papers. This came from a block, and I just took it off, and I'm using it like a normal piece of paper. And I've got my tape here. My Nito tape, my new favorite tape. It did leave a little bit of residue on my last painting, so I was a little surprised at that, but my main concern is, does it stick to my paper and to my backing board? And yes, it does, so that's great. And then I do think I'm going to apply masking. I'm going to apply masking for these whiskers, a little bit of glint in the eye, these whiskers, a little bit of the fur details along here, a little bit. You don't want to get too much, and you don't want to evenly space out your masking strokes so it looks like a gate evenly spaced out in hairs along here. That will look really stilted, but I'm going to do some of this masking, and I'm going to mask some of these whiskers coming off the muzzle, maybe a little bit off the neck. So it'll be hard to see my masking, but that's what I'm going to do for masking. I'll use my Winsor Newton colorless removable masking. And as always, what I do when I apply masking, I dip my brush in water, scrub it around on soap, and then dip it in my masking. And the first stroke I put somewhere else, because then my next stroke will be a much finer line. So you kind of want to get the blop off, and I'll use that for the highlights in the ear. And then I've got just enough masking on my brush to do 1 or 2 whiskers. That's not going to look good. I'm going to put a lot of masking along here. A lot of whiskers. There's a lot of whiskers in the original picture. I'm going to go for it. And I don't want to wait too long before I rinse out my brush. I don't want my masking to get any kind of dry. And I'm going to reload after a couple minutes of work. I just don't want to risk my brush drying out with the masking in it. Get the blobs out by painting some masking here along the edge of the ear. And then I can go back to doing a few very fine whiskers. And the name of the game is uneven spacing, uneven lengths. So it looks very random and natural. It's got these really cool little curly, I mean, they're just great. Got these beautiful curly hairs here that I'm just in love with. So I'm going to put those in. And then I'm going to just dot in. I'm trying to use as light a touch as I can to get really refined wisps. Very light touch. And then let's get some dots in the eyes here. Beautiful little curved highlights if possible. Sorry, I'm having to move this around, but this is really the best way to make sure you get precise, delicate, barely touching my brush to the painting. And I am going to rinse out again, scrub my brush in soap, and dip again into my masking. And just do some of these hairs down in here. I'm going to put in some highlight, really crazy eyelashes, and if they look good, I'll keep them, and if they look bad, I'll just paint over them. But I just put in some crazy eyelashes, y'all. I mean, they were like this. So it might look really good. I mean, because she has really long eyelashes. You just can't see them because they're, well, you can see them, they're just black. So I'm going to try to play those up a little bit. Just a little. Oh, and I'll do that with the other eyelashes too. You know what? I'll put eyelashes in right here. More than what's in the reference. And if they're overdone, I can always paint over them and kind of play them down. But if you don't put them in, you don't give yourself that chance to have a really great touch to your painting. And not overdoing it again. Put in tiny little don't see any highlights on the nose or anything. I think that's good. That's gonna look, I feel like I just did a really good job on my masking, and I was using a very light touch. I tell you what, it's really energizing to have a couple paintings under my belt that I really feel good about, like that Calico Cat that I just finished and the Edisto Rainbow I feel really good about. So it just gives me more energy to paint somehow. And I don't know if you guys have been feeling down about your painting lately, like you can't do anything right. Trust me, I have felt like that off and on for months. So just know that's a normal part of developing as an artist. Keep pushing through, keep trying, keep pushing your paintings, keep working through them. A common beginner mistake I see people doing is finishing when the painting is at the ugly stage and they think they failed. That's what I did with the Calico painting. I had shelved it, and one day I just said, okay, I'm just gonna do one more layer. I put that purple in and it just turned the whole painting magic. So give your paintings a chance and keep working them. And hey, if they get overworked, oh well, at least you tried to bring them to their final glory. So don't give up on your paintings too soon. Don't give up on your art too soon. Keep going. So there's your pep talk for the day. I hope you guys are all doing great, and I will see you in the next session.